Hi everyone, I'm McGann, and welcome back to another episode of There I Read It, where I'm reading the Harry Potter books for the first time ever in my life. Today we have Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Chapter 9, Grim Defeat. And I really thought this chapter was going to have a lot more to do with the Grims they keep talking about, but alas, not really. But this chapter does have a lot to do with the Quidditch game, which, again, for me, are really boring and try to read about. So let's just jump into my notes and see what there is to talk about. So the last chapter ended with the fat lady in the painting being missing and her painting itself being shredded. And now all the students are sent into the Great Hall and they're locked in there to sleep with sleeping bags because somehow Dumbledore is able to conjure up sleeping bags but not actual beds for reasons. I don't know. It seems like it would take roughly the same amount of space, but whatever. Why should those kids get to be comfortable? The kids also talk about having to sleep in their uniforms, and again, nobody can magic up some PJs? I mean, even if Dumbledore didn't have time or didn't think to do it, can't the kids do that for themselves? It seems pretty basic. And it's briefly discussed that Hogwarts is enchanted, so people just can't sneak in or apparate to get inside, which means Sirius Black not only getting past the Dementors, but past all the spells on Hogwarts is really concerning. They do find the fat lady from the painting though, and she's hiding in a map of Argyllshire. I don't know if that's a real place or not. I guess I could Google it, but I don't think it matters enough for me to need to look that up. And Snape really suspects that it's Professor Lupin who helped Sirius Black get inside the school. Now, while the fat lady's gone, they have to put up a new painting to guard Gryffindor Tower, and Sir Cadogan is the only painting willing to volunteer. He is apparently a great pain who changes the password and wants to fight everybody. But you know what? He was brave enough to raise his hand and say, I'll do it, so he does belong with Gryffindor. Then McGonagall is talking about stopping Harry from going to Quidditch anymore, and he's like, no, you can't do that to us. So McGonagall, being a very big Quidditch fan herself, gets Mrs. Hooch to oversee Quidditch practices. And they only call her Madam Hooch like they do with Madam Pomfrey, so I don't know her actual status. Is she like a coach or only explicit types of teachers, professors? How does that work exactly? Because again, if you can't tell from my speechy speech, I'm American and we don't have professors in our high schools. But I have heard that in the UK, they do call high school college, and then college is university, so it's all kinds of kooky dukes over there compared to here. Then the Gryffindor Quidditch team finds out that they're not going to play Slytherin like they thought, they're going to play Hufflepuff, and Wood is just so upset by this. He says that the Slytherin house plays a certain way, that's what they've been practicing to go up against, and Hufflepuff is so different, especially now that Hufflepuff has Cedric Diggory as their new captain and seeker. Then Harry has to go to his Defense Against the Dark Arts class, and Lupin's not there. Snape is actually filling in for him, and instead of learning about hinky punks, whatever those are, Snape starts going, oh no, we're gonna learn about werewolves now. And he finally does the thing, turn to page 394. And of course, the very unprofessional Snape has to hate all over Gryffindor, so Harry gets minus 10 points for being late, and then minus another 5 points for, I think it was asking too many questions. And even Hermione loses 5 points for Gryffindor for being a, quote, insufferable know-it-all, and it makes her cry. And I so relate to that, because if anybody told me I did something wrong, or they snapped at me, or any teacher was unkind to me at all, I would also be all puffy-eyed full of tears. So I feel that really hard in my core. And it's said that even though all of the Gryffindor kids have also said that Hermione's a know-it-all, they were really seething at Snape for doing it. So we are finally starting to see this camaraderie between the different houses and how they're willing to be like, well, we can pick on her, but you can't. I don't know if that makes it right for them to be able to pick on her, though. I mean, she's right. Even if she is a know-it-all, she's still right. Maybe shut up and listen sometimes. And even Ron, who's trying to stand up and kind of defend Hermione, ends up getting detention from Snape, and he's like, you're gonna clean bedpans by hand. I still don't understand their detention system here, or why the teachers get to decide whatever punishment they want. There should be some really strict guidelines, don't you think? And by the time the class is over, Snape has assigned homework of 2 full scrolls on how to recognize and kill still werewolves. So, if they haven't hinted hard enough yet at what Lupin is, here is a really blatant slap in the face. But it is almost interesting because for how much that Snape is really hateful and irritable towards Gryffindor, he still wants them to be aware and protected. Because I guess the bottom line is Snape doesn't trust Lupin, and he's going to make sure nobody else does either. Then, back in Gryffindor Tower, Crookshanks is still trying to get a hold of Scabbers, and even Harry brings up the point to the cat of, there's other mice in this castle, why are you only after this one? Which again, little ding 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 ding, if it wasn't obvious enough, here's another big clue. Something is not right with Scabbers and or Crookshanks. And then it's time for the first match of the season against Hufflepuff, and Gryffindor is just so terrified to lose. Wood doesn't even know what to do or say, he's just kind of given up at this point that, hey, we're gonna be losers, so just deal with it now, I guess. And there is a superstorm out there. Although it does make me curious because the first year they lost because Harry was hospitalized for the final game. But the Slytherin team was able to give up their entire slot and trade with Hufflepuff, all because Malfoy's claiming his arm is hurt. So why is an injury that is bad enough to put you in a little coma not enough for Gryffindor to delay a game, but it is bad enough for Slytherin to switch teams? It doesn't make sense. Somebody is playing favorites. And I think it's Madam Hooch who's over all of the Quidditch stuff, so is she a Slytherin? Is she just favoring her house? Something doesn't add up. But anyways, it is a super storm outside, the wind is crazy, there's thunder and lightning going on, and Harry can't see anything because there is just rain caked on his glasses. So Hermione uses Impervious, and Harry's glasses now repel water instead of, be a magnet for them. As a fellow glasses wearer, I totally relate to that part too. It's like, oh, it's raining? I guess I won't get the mail today. But that's another issue that it seems like a weird gray area or an exploited area that there should be a rule on, or at least you would think there would be. And that's, why can Hermione enchant anything on Harry or anybody else on the Quidditch team? She's not part of the team. It's not like she's even a coach or a water girl or any kind of advisor. She's not part of Quidditch. So why is it that any rando off the stands can come in and say, oh, here's a little magic to make you better at Quidditch? You would think that if anybody would be allowed to do that, it would be limited to other team members or the coach or something. I don't actually think they even have coaches in Quidditch. I think Wood is the captain, and then he reports to pretty much nobody. But while playing with his newly charmed glasses on, Harry sees this enormous, shaggy black dog at the top of the stands. And pretty much as soon as he lays eyes on it and looks away, it's gone. Then Harry sees the snitch, but Cedric Diggory is already going after it hardcore. And out of nowhere, 100+ Dementors show up on the field, and Harry kind of starts getting drifty hearing a woman shrieking. I assume that that's his mother, that was his most traumatic moment, was seeing his mom die, and even though he doesn't directly remember that, it's still locked away somewhere in his subconscious. So Harry wakes up in the hospital after falling 50 feet off his broom. Everybody thought he was dead, but he survived it without a scratch apparently. And Cedric did get the snitch, but in good show of his character, he didn't know that Harry was hurt at that point, that he was going after it, and as soon as he found out, he wanted to have a rematch. He didn't want to get a win dishonestly. So I'm finding Cedric to be very likable and respectable, and apparently he's very handsome, but they haven't said enough about him to really get that picture fully. Just that the girls on the Gryffindor team are like, oh, Cedric! And apparently Dumbledore was so mad that those Dementors got on the Quidditch field that he shot silver stuff at them, whatever that is or means. I don't know why that would scare them off, but maybe they're respecting his authority so that Dumbledore does not throw them out of Hogwarts. I don't know who gets the final say here. Is it the Ministry or the Dementors? I still don't really understand what the Dementor is. I know what they do. I know that they're very freaky looking, but as far as where they came from or who controls them, that's very unclear. Oh, and my last note here, it turns out that Harry's Nimbus 2000 blew into the Whomping Willow and now it's splintered in about 12 different pieces. So it's a good thing he was checking out those fire bolts earlier, because now he is surely going to need one. And hey, now that he's not running away forever, he doesn't need to save his money as harshly. Isn't that funny how it all works out? Really though, for this chapter, I'm a little bit sad for Wood, because I was really rooting that he'd get that cup that he wants so badly. And you know, it is hard if you've ever done any kind of team sports or any kind of competition, anything. When it's your last year, not winning is just extra hard, because you know that there is no chance that you're ever gonna go back and be able to like make your name better. You can't redeem yourself if you're out of school and into the real world at that point. Plus it looks bad on, you know, resumes and applications and stuff. Like, oh yeah, I did this for 5 years and we lost all 5 years. But I don't know that it's gonna have that much weight on Wood's actual life beyond Hogwarts. I don't think he's trying to go pro. Anyways though, guys, again, I don't have a ton of notes for this chapter, but there really wasn't a huge amount of detailed stuff going on. So maybe the next chapter will be a little bit more enticing in that regard, but I guess we will see when we get there. I know the next chapter is called The Marauder's Map, so hopefully there will be lots of notes to be had. I know that's a very famous, iconic piece of the Harry Potter Wizarding World universe. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week for the next episode of There I Read It, and we will see you next time, family members. Bye! Well, family members, we're almost done, but I want to invite you to hang out with me in some other places. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as my own personal self, and I have a Facebook page too, but I mostly just post photos over there. And sometimes people say, "Hey McGann, I want to mail you something. How do I do that?" Easy. Just click the About tab on my channel page, and my most current P.O. Box info will be right there. I also run another channel, The Fanily. It's really a hodgepodge channel where we might post anything. Oh yeah, and I also sell shirts and stickers and stuff with the Fanily and the Fangirl logos. If that is your cup of tea, I have a link in every description of every video. Finally, if you want to help out the Fangirl channel and make sure I'm putting out video essays for years to come, the best way you can help is by subscribing and watching more of my videos, whether they're new, old, whatever. Maybe even share one or two on social media, help spread the word. People who watch to the end of videos, like you, helps to tell the site, hey, this is a good video, we should recommend it to other people. So if you made it this far, leave me a comment of something like, hey, I made it to the end. Love ya. See you next time, family members. Bye.